Okay everybody, we're back in Melvin's kitchen. Now we're actually at Melvin's table right here. And what we're going to do is make some banana bread today. 1st of February 2016. Banana bread is the same, but it's just a different setting, okay? Now, one of the most important steps is blending everything together. I may have said this many times before and I'll say it again. Blending is one of the most important parts of Melvin's banana bread. So we have 1 cup of sugar. And my hands are clean. You may want to put your hand in there. Make sure there's no sugar crystals in there. I am absent of a strainer right now, so I want to make sure I don't have any sugar crystals in there. And that's good enough for right now. But see those little sugar crystals? If you had a strainer, you can eliminate that. Because when I make my banana bread, I want it to be right. As a matter of fact, with a strainer, I'm going to improvise here. I have a salad strainer. So we're going to put this sugar in here because I want my customers to get the best banana bread there is on the market. Now, come closer, my assistant. See those sugar crystals? You don't want to bite into that when you're biting some of Melvin's banana bread. So make sure you strain your sugar crystals and you have the best banana bread there is on the market. We're going to do a bowl swap here. So here we go. The sugar and the butter goes in here. And we're going to create another mixture, the sugar and the butter mixture. We're about to start with the eggs. Now we have the butter and sugar mixture here. And it says 2 eggs. And the eggs need to be beaten. We'll use that as our deposit right now. Now, I never argue with the recipes. If it says beat the eggs, then that's what I do. Watch your fingers here. I'll beat these eggs really nicely for about 10 seconds. I believe that to be well. Again, watch your fingers. This is still plugged in and still live. And my hands are still clean. So now we're going to add our eggs to our butter and sugar mixture. Blend that up again. Get it nice and blended. Because our next step is to add our crushed bananas. But we're going to crush the bananas before adding them. Our next step is the bananas. We need 4 spotted freckled bananas, preferably. Get in on that. Some action there. Some freckled bananas. There's no science to how to peel it. Just take it and slap it in here. And again, this little strainer is going to be our little deposit bucket for right now. Because what we're doing is we're going to crush these bananas before I put them into the butter and sugar and egg mixture. And that is what makes my banana bread the best. Because I blend everything before putting it into the main mixture. Now these bananas, they're going to fly a little bit. So what you want to do, come on closer there, my sister. So we had a little bit of a mix-up. Come on closer, come closer. Crowd around, crowd around, crowd around. Okay, now we're chopping these manually so they don't fly everywhere. Now we're going to get this nice and blended, kind of like a banana puree. And then we're going to add it to our mixture over there. Let me tell you. You can try to make this other than the way I make it, but if you want it to taste nice and rich, like Melvin's banana bread, if you've ever tasted my banana bread, you'll know what I'm talking about. Now we've been mixing this for about a minute now, and it looks kind of like banana puree and a little baby food. So now this banana will go into our other mixture. And I need to get a spoon. Well, actually, I don't need a spoon. We'll do that for right now. And now this mixture, one more time, we're going to mix this. This is the butter, the sugar, the eggs, and the bananas. This is our wet mix, if you will. And all of this is going to cream together And the next mix is going to be our flour, our salt, and our baking soda. That's going to be the dry mixture. Now we're ready for our dry mixture, which is the flour. 1.5 cups of flour. Don't worry, you can have my recipe any day. So we have 1.5 cups of flour and 1 teaspoon of baking soda. So where I come from, 2 halves make a whole. We're going to blend it all together so it's very nicely. You don't ever want to just dump that baking soda in there because that's going to help your bread rise. We'll call for some salt, 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Any type of salt. Now, can you pass me my blender, please? My whisker. All right. What we have here, zoom in, crowd around, crowd around. Now you can see the baking soda and the salt and the flour. You never want to just dump that all in there and dump that into one pot. You want to get this mixed up very nicely. And again, if you want a nice tasting banana bread, everything has to be precise. Because when I put my name on it, you better believe it's going to taste delicious. All right. Now, just for showing off purposes, can you get a picture of the chef here? When I put my name on Melvin's banana bread, it is the best. Another important part of making a recipe is going by the recipe. So many times people want to go by memory. That's fine to go by memory. Well, that's a sweet potato pie recipe. That's not for everyone to see. Okay, this is banana bread we're doing right here. Go by the recipe, okay? Don't try to memorize it because you might forget something. So now we're gonna go. We have our dry mixture. Come on in a little bit. We have our dry mixture and we have our wet mixture. And lastly, we'll put in the vanilla. But right now we have the dry and the wet. So all we're gonna do, take a little bit of this dry, pour it into the wet, about halfway. And then we'll blend this up a little bit. Notice how I go around the edges. Get that in there, eliminate the clumps. Okay, it's kind of saturated a little bit. Now we'll put in the rest of our dry mix. And however you see fit to get it all saturated. Kind of raise your blender head up a little bit. See that? It's slowly blending together. And everyone again has their own special way of doing that. But let me tell you, if you blend it nicely, you're gonna keep with making a nice recipe. One of the last ingredients, not the last, but one of the last, is the vanilla. The recipe calls for 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla. I like McCormick. And I like the pure vanilla extract. None of that fake generic stuff. This is Melvin's banana bread, so it must be the prime ingredients. That little bit of vanilla will go a long way. Blend that nicely up in there. Increase my speed just a little bit. And I'll touch on my sides again. Just to make sure everything's blended. You can fast forward through this if you just don't want to watch the magic being made. We're going to take some of our baker's joy, a little bit of oil and powder, not powder, flour, mixed all in together. How about I get it in the pan next time? Now this is going to make about 4 mini loaves. And this is equivalent to 1 big loaf. But I found that the mini loaves I can share with many more people. How about that? Now, we always make one without nuts. But some people are allergic to nuts. That being said, we're going to do a nice little pour right here on the end. We'll fill it up about that far. And that's going to be the mini loaf. Should I add more? I think we'll add a tiny bit more. Okay, that's the one without nuts, for those who cannot have nuts. Now, for those who can have nuts, we are going to have some walnuts. any kind of walnuts you like, but I prefer the diamond brand. If I can get it open. Again, hand clean. There's really no set amount. I'd say about a handful and a half of walnuts. I love walnuts. Throw those babies in there. And we're going to mix these up. Just enough to get the walnuts blended very well into the banana bread mixture. Okay, we're done with the blending. One thing I always love to do, okay, is taste test. Very strong banana flavor. Very good. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to pour the remaining into these right here. And just for those of you who are wondering, the hand that I taste tested is on the bottom of this, so I'm not taste testing and then putting my hands everywhere. Okay, my assistant is ready for some homework. There's 1, 2, and then we'll come back around if we need to. And these 3 that have walnuts in there are not touching the other one in any way. So anyone who's allergic will not have to worry about it. At least I don't think so. And we have a lot more walnuts in there. So what we have here is Melvin's famous banana bread. 3 with walnuts, 1 without. These will bake 350 degrees for about 40 minutes. And halfway through, I'll take it out and test it. Now what we're going to do is spy on this banana bread. We're going to get up in there. And I'll be very careful here. Now it appears to be cooked, but the only way to really know, take a knife, slide it down in there, and the bread comes out looking kind of moist. I would actually say that this bread is actually cooked. Now, remember we started with the non-nut bread first. So now I can poke into every one and check to make sure it's done and not burn myself. Okay, the last one seemed a little bit sticky on there, so what we're going to do is put a nice little sheet of aluminum foil over the top of this, give it about another 3 to 5 more minutes, and that'll make sure that the inside is done and the top does not get any browner. And here we have a finished product, and just in case you'd like to know how big are these loaves? Your average can of Coca-Cola in comparison to the loaves. So they're about a little bit longer than a can of, what is that, 12-ounce can of Coca-Cola. But they are packed with wonderful flavors.